Hello, my friends. I know that so many of us right now are trying to save money and be the wisest homemakers that we can. Well, comfort food, pancakes, maple syrup, it's just wonderful. And maple syrup just runs in my blood, and I will explain that here in a little bit. But I want to revisit a video that I made for y'all when we lived in our RV. And I explained how we stretch maple syrup. In other words, make not artificial, but just make our own maple flavored syrup, I should say. And I also will add a little bit in here about my heritage as it relates to maple syrup. But I hope that this helps you stretch your food budget, and I sure hope you're counting your blessings. Have a great day, y'all, and thanks for visiting my kitchen.
Hey, y'all. Do you love maple syrup? Do you love the taste of maple syrup, but you don't have access to an economical or frugal way to purchase it? It can be very costly, so I want to show you a way to stretch your dollars a little bit by making your maple syrup last a little longer. Heritage Ways. I am Miss Katie. Here at Heritage Ways, we share videos about home, heritage, and hope. And this video today is about home and heritage. I want to tell you how you can make your maple syrup last longer by making another syrup to add with it. I want to tell you what you can keep it in. I want to give you some other options for flavors. And then, while I'm making this, I want to read to you a poem that was written by my great aunt Coriel, and she published it in her cookbook, the family cookbook. She's passed on, but I'll speak of her a lot. I know y'all have heard me mention her and Uncle Pete, and she wrote this family cookbook, a heritage cookbook, and it's really a compilation of history and really great recipes. She wrote a poem that tells about a little bit about our family heritage when it comes to maple syrup. I would like to share that poem with you while I'm preparing the maple syrup. My family has made maple syrup for a couple of generations. Currently at our Ohio family farm that I will read a little bit to you about, the maple trees are tapped by our Amish friends, the same trees that my great-grandparents tapped years ago. Well, to make our maple syrup, you will need 1 cup of water and 2 cups of sugar. I use 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 cup of organic pure cane sugar, but you can use 2 cups of white sugar if that's what you want to use. 1/4 teaspoon of maple flavoring. I try to get the real maple extract, and this did come from mountain maple trees, it says. And then just a dash of salt. And then I mix all this together, and you'll see how I do that. And then I combine it with real maple syrup that I've purchased. Now, typically I do get it from my Amish friends who have tapped my great-grandfather's trees, but at this time I don't have that access to that, so I've just purchased a real maple syrup, and I combined the two, my syrup mixture with the real maple syrup. Now, that's not the most ideal way to consume maple syrup, but it is a very frugal way, and I would much rather make it with my own ingredients than purchase the bottles of things that I'm not sure what's in there, all kinds of things that we don't want to be eating. Then I will let all of this cool down, and I will put it in a container. And I'm just showing you, these are just some options of containers. These are empty. You can put it in a jar. You can store it in a plasticware. You need to store it in the refrigerator because it will mold. Real maple syrup does mold. Now, a side note, if real raw maple syrup does mold, actually you can skim the mold off and boil it, and it would be fine to consume. My family has done that for years. You may or may not want to do that, but it is fine to do that. I do want to tell you, you can add different or additional flavors. You can play around with it. Instead of using the maple extract, you can use, there's lemon. Does that sound good? You could use almond, you could use caramel extract or a combination. And I make my own vanilla, so that's what's in here. You could use a vanilla extract. So those are options on flavorings. And then one more, you can make it a cinnamon maple syrup. You could use powdered cinnamon. I would choose an essential oil so that you don't have the powder floating around in your syrup. Well, let's get started making our maple syrup. And I hope you enjoy the poem that my Aunt Coco wrote in 1988 about her heritage farm, which is also my heritage. Maple Dell Farm. The family moved from Scioto to Morrow County in the spring of 1921. For Mom and Dad, 'twas a gigantic task, but for us kids it was so much fun. During his trips to buy this land, Dad visited his cousin, Norman, in Westerville, who operated a registered Jersey farm and had a few cattle to sell. Dad bought a little registered Jersey calf whose name was Bonnie Dell, and as the wagons came through here to Morrow County, they brought her along as well. This farm boasted of the best maple grove in this part of the region and produced hundreds of gallons of maple syrup in any normal spring season. Of course, after things got settled down and chaos was turned into pleasure, the folks began thinking of what they might call this land that became their treasure. Since the herd was founded on Bonnie Dell and the maple grove the outstanding charm, to them it seemed destined the land should be known as their beloved Maple Dell Farm. From then and on it has ever been, and Dad proudly painted it on the barn, where it is seen today in memory of those who made it our legacy, our Maple Dell Farm. Coriel Merwin Roush, 1988. Well, thanks for joining us today for a little bit of my family heritage regarding maple syrup, as well as my heritage and tradition of trying to be as frugal as possible. This is one way to make your maple syrup last a little longer and stretch it as far as you can. So I hope you enjoyed Aunt Coco, as I called her, Aunt Coco's poem about Maple Dell Farm, and you learned how to still enjoy maple syrup on a budget. Y'all have a great day, and come back and see me next week.